The building on North 25th Street in Milwaukee never looked like the sort of place where secrets could hide. It was ordinary, brick walls, narrow hallways, the hum of old appliances, but behind one apartment door lived a quiet man most people barely noticed. Jeffrey Dahmer kept to himself. He moved through life softly, almost silently, as if he were trying not to be seen at all. To neighbors, he was simply Jeff, a pale figure slipping in and out of the apartment at odd hours, polite enough when spoken to, but distant. People smelled odd odors sometimes, but the explanations came quickly: spoiled meat, a broken fridge, chemicals for cleaning. And because life is busy, and people usually want to believe the simplest answer, most questions ended there. Yet inside that small apartment, Dahmer's life was a storm that no one else could hear. He struggled with urges he didn't understand, emotions that frightened him, and a crushing loneliness he had carried since his teenage years. His thoughts isolated him even more than the locked door behind him. Dahmer worked at a chocolate factory, clocking in and out like anyone else. To coworkers, he was quiet but harmless. He did his shift, nodded hello, and disappeared. No one imagined the battles happening in his mind, the tug-of-war between the person he wanted to be and the impulses he feared he could no longer control. For years, the pattern continued: isolation, secrecy, attempts at normalcy that never lasted. Dahmer drifted through life like a shadow he could not step out of. He drank heavily, trying to numb thoughts he didn't want, hoping to drown the loneliness that always returned. But one summer night in 1991, everything unraveled. A young man escaped Dahmer's apartment and flagged down 2 police officers. He was shaken, terrified, and insistent. Something was wrong. The officers followed him back to the building. When they stepped inside the apartment, the illusion Dahmer had built for so long began to collapse. The officers found things that made it clear that they had uncovered something far more serious than they expected. The quiet man who rarely spoke suddenly had no more secrets left to hide. Jeffrey Dahmer did not run. He didn't fight. Instead, he confessed, slowly, calmly, almost with relief. He told investigators more than they ever expected to hear, describing a life spent fighting urges he didn't understand and trying desperately, yet disastrously, to keep control of his world. At his trial, people packed the courtroom, searching for answers. Dahmer spoke with an unsettling sincerity, acknowledging the horror of his actions and calling himself sick, though even he struggled to explain how he became the person he was. He was sentenced to life in prison, multiple life sentences, in fact. There, stripped of anonymity and routine, Dahmer seemed to spend much of his time confronting the very person he had tried to hide from for so long: himself. In 1994, another inmate took his life. With Dahmer's death, the world was left not with closure, but with questions about loneliness, mental illness, missed warnings, and how someone so unassuming could carry such darkness inside. Jeffrey Dahmer's story remains one of the most unsettling in American criminal history, not just because of what he did, but because of the silence in which he lived his life, the unnoticed fractures, and the eerie way he slipped through the world until the facade finally broke.